True Blue software featuring True Vantage, purchase orders to purchase order receiving, to invoicing the purchase order, to paying for the purchase order. In this demo, we will create a purchase order, receive that purchase order, invoice the purchase order, and pay for the purchase order. We will show how to handle receiving exactly what you ordered, putting items on back order, never going to receive the item, and how to handle if the price of an item has changed. If the reorder level and reorder quantity fields are filled in, then it will pull the reorder quantity onto the purchase order when selected as shown next. The first step involved in creating a purchase order is to click on the Add New button. Upon doing so, the program will assign the next available purchase order number. These numbers are generated internally and cannot be adjusted. Your cursor automatically moves to the vendor section of the screen, where by clicking on the Vendor Lookup button, you can select the appropriate vendor via the Vendor Lookup engine. If the selected vendor had a vendor ID number entered, it will fill it in and also print on the purchase order. If this vendor has a fax number entered, it will print on the purchase order along with the regular phone number to contact this vendor. Because we are creating a new purchase order, leave the bullet in the regular field. When you click on Add New, the purchase order status will be New. When you click on the Order and Print button, the status will be Open. The purchase order has to have a status of Open in order to receive the purchase order. After receiving the purchase order, the status will be Complete. After you have added some line items, the total dollars field will fill in. Once you have clicked on the Order and Print button, the Date Ordered field will fill in. Now click on the Line Items tab and it will display this next screen. This screen allows you to associate actual inventory items with the present purchase order. But before you select your inventory items, you need to select a default inventory price that will pull onto the purchase order. Notice how the bullet is in the last purchase field. It will default to this field and work this way. First price that pulls in is the purchase history price from the last purchase you made for that part from the vendor selected on the purchase order. If you never bought the part before from the vendor selected on the purchase order, the system will pull in the average cost. If no average cost is entered in, it will pull from the base cost. If after using True Vantage for a while and you start updating the base cost and the average cost, and you wish one of those prices to be pulled onto the purchase order instead of the last purchase price, then place a bullet in the appropriate field in the Default Price Options section. To select your inventory items, first click on the Add New button. This will bring you to the screen shown next. If you know your part number, then type it in and then press the Enter key on the keyboard. If you do not know your part number, then click on the Inventory Lookup button and it will bring you to the inventory search engine. Find and select your inventory item. However you select the item, this screen will appear as shown next. Because the reorder level and reorder quantity fields were filled in, it pulled in the reorder quantity automatically into the Quantity Ordered field. If at this point you wish this line item to have a different default price than what is selected, then after selecting the inventory item, click on one of the following price options. When you are finished with the selecting and entering of an item of inventory, click on the Update button. This will return you to the screen shown next. You can add additional inventory items by clicking on the Add New button. You can edit the items appearing on the screen by highlighting and clicking on the desired item. You can print the purchase order as it presently stands by clicking on the Print Only button. If you click on this particular button, you will still be able to edit the purchase order. If you click on the Order and Print button, you will not be able to edit the purchase order. At this point, you have placed the purchase order on order. We will click on the Order and Print button because we are done creating this purchase order. Now those items show they are on order due to clicking on the Order and Print button. Now open up the purchase order receiving module and it will display this screen. Enter in the purchase order number you're about to receive and press the Enter key on the keyboard and the screen will display as shown next. Next, enter in the transaction date field the date you wish to post to the general ledger. Now we will edit each line item as we did not receive the whole purchase order and need to make adjustments. The first item we are going to say we received it and the line is complete. After filling in the quantity received and checking off the line complete, click on the Update button. The next item we will say we received 1 and don't click on the line complete field as the other item will be placed on back order. Now click on the Update button. The third item we will edit and enter in a 0 in the quantity received field and check off the line is complete as we will never be receiving this item at all. Now click on the Update button. And the last item we will receive, but when we invoice this purchase order, this line item price will have changed from when we ordered it. Now click on the Update button. Now you can see the first line we received 1. The second line we received 1 and the other one will be placed on back order. The third line we will not receive at all and the fourth line we received 1. Now click on the Exit button and it will receive this purchase order and post to the general ledger. It will debit the inventory asset account and credit a holding account, a liability, which will clear back out when you invoice this purchase order. After receiving that purchase order, now you can see there are no more items on order and the in-stock has increased by what we have received. The one item we ordered 2 of but only received 1 but did not complete the line has put the one item received in the in-stock and the other item on back order. Once you receive that back-ordered item, it will then remove it from the back-ordered field and put it in the in-stock field. Now we will invoice this purchase order. So open up the vendor module and then click on the Enter Invoice button and it will display this next screen. Highlight the vendor and then click on the Next Step icon. Make sure the bullet is in New and then enter in the invoice number, a reference which is optional, a date, and the amount. Next, enter in any freight and/or tax. Then type in the purchase order number and then click on the Next Step icon. You need to type in the current invoice quantity and current invoice unit price. After doing so, the difference amount should be 0. Even though we entered in $3,328.92, it knows that $125 was for freight and tax. So the amount it pulls here is the difference, which is $3,203.92. Because of the price change, you will receive this message. Click on OK and you will receive this next message. Click on OK. Now that you have keyed in all that you are invoicing for and the difference is at 0, the Finish flag will become active to click on. After clicking on the Finish flag and there has been a price difference, you will receive this screen to adjust the base cost or not. We will adjust the base cost and click on OK. Now it will give you the general ledger accounts it is going to post to. The 20020 is that holding account that was hit when we received the purchase order and is now clearing it back out. Because there was a price increase in one of the items from the purchase order to the invoice, it is debiting the price increase to the inventory asset account. We also entered in freight and tax, so it will post to their respective general ledger accounts too. It will also hit the accounts payable account, and when you pay for this invoice, it will clear the accounts payable account back out. Click on the Next Step icon. Job costing will not be explained in this demo. Now the invoice is sitting on the Unposted Payables tab. Highlight the invoice and then click on the Post icon to post the invoice. Now we will pay for that invoice we just keyed in. To do so, click on the Write Checks button, and it will bring you to this next screen. This screen will show all the invoices that you owe to your vendors. Select the ones you wish to pay, and then click on the Check Processing tab, and it will bring you to this next screen. Select that it is an automated check, and then click on the Next Step icon. Next, click on the Get Next Check Number button, and then click on the Next Step icon. You need to preview and/or print the check summary report in order for the Next Step icon to become active. Now print the check, and after doing so, the Next Step icon will become active. Now preview and/or print the check register report, and after doing so, the Next Step icon will become active. Now place a check mark in the post-check confirmation field, and then click on the Finish flag. It will then ask you if the checks printed successfully, and if they did, then click on Yes. After clicking on Yes to the previous question, it will then give you this message that the check processing is complete. Click on OK. And now that invoice has been removed from the Write Checks, as it is no longer an open invoice to that vendor. To schedule a demo, please call the 800 number. Thank you for watching the demo. We hope to hear from you soon.